there's an 88% chance that you will benefit from this simple fasting technique to bolster your immune system. I'm about to break down the real reason why fasting and how it boosts your immune system and how easily you can get this implemented. I'm going to give you the resources to do it. Let's dive straight into it. Number one, this is very important for you. 88% of people are metabolically inflexible. That means our metabolisms are simply not stable. How do you know if this is you? Well, if you're struggling with diabetes, blood pressure issues, any level of overweightness or obesity, or elevated triglyceride levels throwing off your cholesterol, these are all clinical symptoms of insulin resistance and metabolical inflexibility. 88% of us fall into this category, and why that is so significant is it increases the risk of developing viruses, the one that's hit us the last few years specifically, because it impairs the immune function. When you can't pivot because your body is straining under stress and your nutrition is leaving you at a very vulnerable state, you can't fend off what you normally would be able to fend off. This puts you at big risks. So what that means is if you can't go a few hours without thinking about food or eating food, if you get nauseous or hangry or stressed out and you need to have food to fill that gap, there is metabolic inflexibility there. Now what happens is if you're in that state already and then you throw a virus in the middle of it, your immune system can't handle it because it is straining so much just to keep up with the resistance to insulin, the energy management issues, and the metabolic inflexibility. It doesn't have the reserves to fight off the virus. So how can you simply fix this? How can you become more metabolically stable, feel better about your weight, combat these conditions like diabetes, blood pressure, obesity, elevated triglyceride levels better than anything else out there that you could throw at it? Is through a process called rotational fasting. And I may say the word fasting, and some of you just get, maybe scared of it, fearful of it, never done it, maybe have done it, maybe didn't like it, right? There's a rotational way to ease your body into this. And this is the absolute key with promoting the stability that your metabolism needs. So if you just jump tomorrow and you try to go straight into intermittent fasting or a full-on day fast or 2 days fast, you might not make it very well because your metabolism is unstable. That's too much of a shock for the system. So rotational fasting is your way to ease into it, but it's also the way to make sure that you don't plateau if you have been a faster for a while and you've been implementing fasting and you like it, you're implementing, but maybe you're stuck, maybe the weight is stuck, maybe the conditions like blood pressure or diabetes are stuck and you want to go to that next level. Here's exactly how you do it. So let me get you some background here, right? First off, if you only do what's easy, you'll always stay weak. So if you don't want that metabolism to be weak and you want to fend off the metabolic inflexibility so that you can strengthen your immune system or have the reserves for your body to be able to fight any kind of virus that comes your way with an immune system, then we've got to challenge ourselves a little bit, all right? So I'm not saying it's going to be easy to implement, but if you ease your body in, you'll set yourself up for success. Now, there's a lot of you maybe that have tried intermittent fasting, and you're scheduling out your 6 to 8 hour window. So for 16 hours of the day, you're not eating. So that would look like at 6 o'clock at night, you stop with dinner. You don't have food until the next day at noon. That can be done regularly. It's a very easy eating plan. It cuts down on your consumption very nicely. That helps decrease the insulin and leptin sensitivities. Your ghrelin, your hunger hormone, reduces so you don't overeat. You can become fat adaptive. This is going to start balancing out the hormone. Now, it decreases those triglyceride levels, the inflammation, the oxidative damage happening in your body, and starts to stabilize things, right? Especially if you focus more on veggies, nuts, seeds, and fats as opposed to carbohydrates, okay? Now, this is what the window would look like for this fasting, right? You're fasting in the morning, like I said. Maybe you throw a workout in here early in the day or later in the day, and then you are eating during a 12 to 6 hour window, okay? Late night eating has to go, 6 to 11, right? Or bedtime, whenever that is. And you're waking up in the morning, you're not breaking your fast. Now, if you want to do some dirty fasting, it sounds dirty, but it really helps me. I'll have some coffee. I'll usually do some coconut oil, or MCT is the medium chain triglycerides that are in coconut. You can do that in just an oil. I like to add in a little bit of collagen. Some protein might spike it just a touch, But normally for me, I feel like it keeps me, and notice it keeps my insulin still stable. You can put in a little bit of butter in here for some healthy fats, blend that up. So a little bit of dirty fasting, you're able to do it. Some tea, some coffee, not going to beat you up too much for having that. So this is a traditional intermittent fasting realm. A lot of you have maybe tried this. If you haven't, it's a good try, but it kind of throws you into this as opposed to just gently working your way up. Now, this is an advanced eating plan that we actually use in our monthly challenges. And this advanced eating plan is rotational fasting. Okay, so here's how rotational fasting works. And you can be able to see the differences of intermittent instead of throwing yourself straight into it. So what you would start with is if you're not just eating 3 meals a day, and you're a big time snacker, that's what you should focus on your first week. So in week 1, just eliminate snacking, have a nice, healthy breakfast, lunch, dinner, try to focus on fats, try to lower the carbohydrates. That's going to go a long way. Then in week 2, right, or maybe that's your pre-week, then you can start with a half-size breakfast. So start cutting down your consumption at breakfast. Focus on your lower carbohydrates, focus on your healthy fats, okay? That's the only change you make. It seems like you're going slow here, but trust me, you are repairing a metabolism that's probably been damaged for a really long time. You got to ease back into this. An insulin expert taught me this, and this is where I feel a lot of people get fasting very wrong. So half size your breakfast, half size your smoothie, half size whatever you're eating there, okay? Now let's get into week 2. This is where you'll do the more traditional intermittent fasting, where you're waiting to eat until lunchtime. You're having that sensible dinner, and then you're not eating the next day until lunchtime again. So this would be your intermittent fasting week. Now, a lot of people could stay here for a while, but eventually plateau. So let me show you how you can keep going. Then you move into week 3, and you're intermittent in the morning, but then you start half-sizing that dinner. Now, this gets a little bit more intense, okay? But you really can start breaking through those plateaus, and you're still getting food in, so you still feel filled up with a healthy lunch. You're just cutting down that dinner, which then not snacking. You're waiting all the way till the next day through breakfast to lunch for more food. You're really going to get into fat burning mode. That is going to really start to surge your immune system. Right at that 16-hour mark is where the immune boost really starts to kick in, and it is enhanced by how small the meal was and how low in carbohydrates the meal was before you started the fast. Interesting stuff. Then you could work your way in to more advanced fasting. And this is where you get into a 1, 2, or 3 day juice cleanse. UCLA did this study and showed that if it is under 100 calories a day, meaning you're using green juice that's very low in carbohydrates. You're just sipping on that throughout the day. So you can still have some dirty fasting where you're putting in liquids. But if I can have liquids, I get happy. I'm good. That helps me get through the fast, whether it's my coffee or whether it's the green juice. But when you do that, by day 3, you massively tap in to this mega cleanup mode in your body where you start destroying old fragments of viruses and bacteria that were hanging around and parasites, and all this cleanup starts to go on. So what I would recommend is you work your way through no snacking, and then you get into cutting down half-size breakfast, then work your way up to intermittent no breakfast, then go beyond that intermittent fast, no breakfast, and half-size dinner, and then try your first full day of low carbohydrate juicing and try to work up to 2 days and 3 days. So this can be spread out over multiple weeks as you ease your body into that and you break through plateaus. You're going to stabilize your metabolism by doing exactly that. Now, below I put a full guide and a training for you. So you know exactly how to do this. I go in depth, break it down for you, go through the research, show you a little bit more what to eat. It comes with a really well laid out guide to make this very simple for you. So check that out in the description. And then number 2, how fasting makes a massive impact on your immunity is autophagy. And if you've never heard of this word, you want to get familiar with it because it's one of the most incredible processes that our body does for cleaning up viruses, microbes, and things that are harming your immune system. I did a full video on it. I think it's a perfect next step for you. I think you're going to love autophagy as much as me. Check this video out.